Chav Zion. Chav Zion. Chav Zion on the top. Yeah, top line, mamash. So we continue with, I'm making a mistake. I think Chav Zion. Let's see. Yeah, on the top. Chavav, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Chavav Amalal. Chavav Amalal, right? Yeah, that's what the mission is. Yeah, I got it. Chavav Amalal. And in Tikinyanim, yesterday we did about Behema, Behemedaka, Behemegasa. Now we continue about Karka and Metaltalim. Very cool about Kinyanim. So first of all, it talks about Karka, and the Chasim Sheish Lamach Rayis, which means Karka. And in English we say real estate. Here it says Nechasim Sheish Lamach Rayis, which means, so Rashi explains here what the term means. Whenever you say Nechasim Sheish Lamach Rayis, it has responsibility. So Rashi says that that's what people consider guarantee for when they when they lend money, they want to know that it's good collateral. So people don't trust the collateral that is here today, gone tomorrow. So karka is what people lean on, and that's why it's called achrayis. I think it's similar to what we say in English, real estate. Why is it called? Why is karka called real estate? Because that's real. The diamond, it's a real diamond, but it's not here. It doesn't help. So people don't trust. They don't lean on it. They don't rely on it when they have to have a guarantee. So this is called Nechasim Sheish Lamach. Actually, over here tells us how the term comes in all over Shas. Is that the reason why they call it real estate? Anybody know what the term in English? How come they call Kaka real estate? Yeah, it's real. I have no worries. It's real. Because it's real. Okay, the way you said. Okay, in Hebrew they call it also Nadlan. That just means that it's not moving. It's not moving. It doesn't move, which is the same idea that it's not going anyplace. How do you make a kinyan on karka? Nitin b'kesef, shtar v'chazaka. Three ways to make a kinyan. One is kesef. Kesef, of course, we know kesef we think means the money of the payment of, but not that. Because you fruit, even though the karka itself costs $100,000, but you make a kinyan just with a shavar fruta, and the buyer gives to the seller a shavar fruta, and that's how the karka gets transferred. Of course, you have to pay the money also, but there can be a kinyan, even an official kinyan, an acquisition. So kesef is a kinyan. Ubishtar, that you write a contract. The seller writes a contract that my field, my house is hereby sold to you, and he gives it to the buyer, and that transfer of the contract closes the deal, and now belongs to of course he owes the money. That's another issue. And chazaka means that the buyer, the buyer or the recipient, or even you could talk about chazaka probably will be on hefker also. Kesef and shtar, there's nobody to have the deal with when you take it from hefker, but you want to make a kinyan on a hefker piece of land. So chazak means that you use it and you show your ownership by being able to make decisions. So I think that the Gemara is going to say not after over here, but the Gemara says no. Go to Paras, you make a lock on the door, you make a fence, you break open the lock, something to show that you're the balabais. So the Gemara is going to talk about just living over there. But living over there, it seems from the Gemara that that's not going to be enough, because even though you're using it, but it doesn't show that you're showing ownership. You're not showing that you're the balabais, because the other person also could sit over there. Could be a guest. That's something else. That's not this. Over there, the chazak over there talks about how to prove that it was you were there. It's not proving yes, make an actual acquisition. So that means to use it. It's similar when you have the same lesson by Eved Kanani, Kesef Shtar Chazaka. Over there, chazaka also meant to use the Eved in a way that a servant serves his master. So it also is the way the karka is serving its owner by using it. I think by the Eved also, it has to be some kind of a service that only an Eved would do to his master, not the way somebody would do for a friend. It has to be a service that shows that you're the Baal Abais.
So he's saying by using it, is that
Chazaka, but using it in a way that shows ownership.
Using it that shows, and did you say putting a lock on it?
Yeah, that's one of the examples. No, God, that parats. It doesn't say it over those words, but it means to put a lock on it, okay, to make put a fence, to break open the fence, something that shows that you're the owner. I would have thought. Okay, the Gemara says this point about living in it, but it seems that that's not enough just to live in it. You have to live in it in a way that you show ownership. So those are the three kinyanim for nechasim sheish lamach rayis. Okay. Now, how about she'ein lamach rayis? How about karka that is metaltalin. We call how do you call it? Chattel. Metaltalin first portables. Everything besides karka. Right, not real estate. Not real estate. Movables, portables. A person. Benjamin said personal, something. Another word he had for it. Okay. A niknel b'mashicha. Yeah, the only way to acquire it is only by mashicha, by pulling it. You want to take an object, a sefer, a table, a chair. Cow is not in this list. It's going to be yesterday's list about Vei Megasa. And over there we spoke about maybe Masira. No, so it's not included in this list. This means inanimate objects. The sugya about animals was yesterday's subject. That spoke about Vei Megasa, Vei Medaka.
This means inanimate.
It does, the words don't mean that, but in contrast to yesterday's Mishnah, so we had a special Mishnah about animals.
Okay.
And that was Vei Megasa, Vei Medaka. Over there we passed in Mashicha. And Machlokes Rishon with Masira is also good or not. Is Masira good? Agbo for sure is good. Maybe also, even though it says Mashiach, of course, Agbo is even better than Mashiach. But all these other cases on the Kesef, Shtar, Chazaka doesn't help for portables. For there you have to have Mashiach. It goes back to another. It continues another way how to make a kinyan on Taltalim.
There can be some very big movables there.
You can't pick it up. You can't move it. How are you going to make it? What are you going to do? So there are going to be other ways also. But the Mishnah says Mashiach says one more way. Here says another way. The Chasam Shein Achrayus, there's another way to make a kinyan. Niktan in the Chasam Shein Achrayus, the Kesef V'Shtar V'Chazaka. This is what's called the Agav, Aleph Gimel Beis, which means on the back, which means Agav, because of something else. So if you want to sell two things together, Karka and Metaltalin, so then you make a kinyan on the Karka, and whatever way you make a kinyan on the Karka, Kesef V'Shtar Chazaka. So then you can also automatically transfer the portables also Agav together. What's the nice word for Agav? Agav means something literally means like on the back. Agav on the back. That it gets a tramp together with the karka. So if you sell karka, the Gemara is going to have a lot of details about this kinyan agav. It's going to talk about at length. Today is going to be one sugi about it, but I see the other sugis coming up. How does kinyan agav work? The Mishnah doesn't call it kinyan agav. We're calling it kinyan agav. That if you do sell karka, and you make an acquisition for the karka in whatever way you do karka, which is kesef shtar chazaka, so then you could also make a kinyan automatically that also. What's another word besides a tramp? In English, how would you say it? That it rides along on a piggyback. Okay, and a more formal term. it gets also carried along with the karka. So you don't have to make a kinyan on the metaltalin at all. As they say, we'll see maybe more details, but you don't make a kinyan on the metaltalin since you're making a kinyan on the karka. So the karka, the metaltalin go along for the free ride. Maybe that's how they say it. Yeah. Now we have something agav over here, like Chapusa put in so eloquently. Next Mishnah is another point. There's nothing to do with us, but similar, but nothing to do with kinyanim. This goes in parentheses. There's another way that the karka and metaltalin are related to each other. That one affects the other. The first case was our subject was that if you're making a kinyan on karka, so then the metaltalin come along with it. Here's the opposite case. There's something that the metaltalin are going to drag along the karka. What is that? Not our subject, not about kinyan, but about shvua. There's a din that that if there's some kind of focus about karka, about someone owes somebody money, so the mikdas makes a shvua. In certain cases, you have to make a shvua. You have to make an oath in order to prove your stand. And there's a din, the English born ala kakos, that you can make somebody make an oath on karka. But if there's making a karka, there's an issue to make a shvua anyway because of metaltalin, so then you can obligate him to make a shvua on the karka also. That's what the words mean, zokik. And the word zokik, I think, means obligates. It obligates karka to swear on it. It means that the portables are the zokik. Right. That's going back on before. Now, Chasam Shein Achrayus says two things. But the first thing is that it is acquired agav the karka, and also the portables can obligate the karka to swear on. That even though you can't obligate an oath on karka, but if he's obligated to make an oath on the metaltalin, so he can demand. It could also pull along that you have to make a shvua on the karka also, and that's not our subject. That came in mamash.
Are these things separate or when you're acquiring something. Is
No,
when
nothing to do with acquisition. There's a
nothing
machlokes.
to do with
Yeah,
acquisition.
he talked about that he
He
was
has
alone and a
movables on his
geneva.
property, and he says,
No, nothing to do with that.
somebody
Two different issues. Modeh b'mikzas. There was some issue about
about
modeh
something that's
b'mikzas.
on his karka.
No, nothing to do with karka at all. Nothing. Yeah, then a machlokes about money. He owes you money.
Once he's
Has to
taking
swear.
a swear, he can add. And by
Right.
the way,
There's another issue
you
about
will
karka
be-
that we have, and you don't swear about
right,
it,
so
but
it
now
has
want
nothing
to
do
swear on
with
that
them being
also.
together.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so the main issue of the mission is about kinyanim karka, kinyanim metaltalim. It says kinyanim karka is kesef shtach hazaka, kinyanim metaltalim is meshicha, and also agav. Those are that's how the Mishnah, if we just summarize the Mishnah, that's what it said. Besides the parentheses that talks about making a shul. So the Gemara asks on each one, how do you know? That's going to be the subject today, the Amar Aleph at least. How do you know each one? The Kesef and Nolan. How do you know there's such a thing as Kinyan Kesef? Very interesting that the Gemara is going to bring Psukim in the Navi the whole time. It's not going to be Psukim in the Torah, Kemat, only one of them. And it's usually you don't learn anything out from the Navi. It's going to be Psukim in Yirmiyah, Psukim in Divrei Hayamim, and that's it. Maybe it's only an Asmachta. It's not really a Drash. It's maybe Torah Shabbat Peh, and it's only an Asmachta from the Psukim. Or maybe there's another way to understand the Gemara. But the Gemara is going to bring Psukim from the Nevi'im. How do you know there's such a thing? Tikona Karka with Kesef. Omar Chizkiya Omar Kura. Chizkiya says that the pasuk says, Sados Bakesef Yiknu. That's the pasuk. And we could look at it on the side.
Well, why wouldn't it bring the sale of Machpelah? See that with Kesef? There's another psukim there. Except 400, whatever it was.
So that was the first page in the Masechta. And we learned out Kiddushin Kesef from Karka. We don't how do you know Kiddushin Kesef? Nisha Nikna is for Shloshet Rachim. And I said over there, how do you know Kesef? And over there we learned out from Rasati Kesef Asadek Kafni Meni.
The Sadeh should come out. So we're on the bottom of the first page. Oh, it's bringing this pasuk.
Yeah, just brought to show that it's called a Kinyan. But
Okay,
about the
maybe Kesef.
Sadeh Kesef Yiknu, it means it's pasuk to show that it's called a Kinyan. But why is it not enough to bring the pasuk of Masati Kesef Asadeh Kach Mimeni? Why don't we bring from there the Kinyan Kesef of Karka? Sounds like a nice question. I just skimmed through the Gemara today.
Okay.
Omar Cross, that's because if you can asked Yaakov's question, how do I see quote that said Rabbi Avrohom, Hashem to do Mahani Minachri, Shakok and Yamakaser. Maybe over there only because it was a guy. Over there, the seller was a guy.
That you could use Kesef.
But maybe if you're buying from a Jew, maybe they did not. Yashikov, right?
But they still get before it's good enough.
But you just know what the word Kenyan. But to know that it works, maybe over there it's not from the guy. Yashikov, okay. So what's the pasuk? Just to maybe have it on the side over here. I always get the wrong side. Oh, here it is. So that's because if you over there it's Binyamin. Over there, it's talking about Yirmiyah that Hashem told Yirmiyah to buy a field. He was in jail, and he told the to buy a field, and his relative came and he bought a field in jail, and really it was like unbelievable. What are you buying a field for now? Everything is in siege, and Am Yisrael is going to be exiled. And buying a field is not the time to buy a field. So Hashem told him in the Nevuah that the same way you're buying a field, it's going to come one time. It's going to happen again that there are going to be fields sold in Eretz Yisrael. And that's like an unbelievable nevuah that nobody believed at the time. It's going to come the time they're going to buy fields in Eretz Yisrael, then they're going to write a shtar and get money. So whenever somebody goes to a lawyer and is buying a house or a field, they should realize that they are a fulfillment of the nevuah of Yirmiyah. Wow. And the lawyer should have in his office these psukim, and everyone should make a kiddush that they're living, and they are a fulfillment of the nevuah. That one day it's going to happen again.
When you buy the house, but you don't buy the land.
And all Eretz Yisrael is like that.
All
The whole Eretz Yisrael is like that. But that's just a formality. They just want to have the right, whatever. But you're paying for the house and everything.
And that's because it's not a religious government.
Yeah, they also do 49 years. It has like a tinge of religiosity over there. 49 years. That's a little thing about. That's also called a sale. Leasing it for 49 years. But that's the most possible. That since it says that's because if you one time they're going to come, they're going to buy in the future. They're going to buy fields for money. So you see that the money is the way you buy the field. The best shot is that you have to pay for the field. Here the Gemara is learning that the kinyan, the acquisition is made through kesef shavapruta. The Gemara says you have to read the end of the pasuk. Maybe the pasuk, even if you say the pasuk is talking about a kinyan, but the next words say v'chasom, which means write it into a contract and sign. So maybe if the pasuk is telling you a kinyan, maybe you have to have both of them. Maybe you have to have the kesef together with the shtar. You don't see kesef alone. The Gemara answers, "Iksiv yiknu lebesof kilikam." If it would have said yiknu at the end of the whole thing, it would have said sados b'kesef and kasov b'sefer yiknu. So then you're right that the kinyan, you don't see a kinyan only if you have both of them together.
Which word?
The word yiknu. The word yiknu. Sados b'kesef yiknu. If it would have said it at the end of the whole sentence, it says kesef and shtar, then it says yiknu. So then you're right that you don't see the kinyan as kesef alone. It could be only kesef and shtar together causes the kinyan. Then you would have been right. Kid the garment. If it would have said yiknu at the end, you would have been right. But hasha, the yiknu meikora. But it says yiknu in the beginning. It says it sadas b'kesef yiknu, and then it says about the shtar. So that shows that the kinyan is from the kesef alone. Kesef, honey, and shtar right ba'amor. Kesef is the kinyan. Sadas b'kesef yiknu, that's the kinyan. And the end of the pasuk says about the shtar. That's just for a proof. That you have a document for proof, but not that that's the kinyan. Sadas b'kesef yiknu.
That's the way to fire.
That's the kinyan. Then it says also about kasov b'sefer, but that says yiknu already. It says yiknu here right away.
That's just a riot.
And even though it says here kasov b'sefer, that's a raya because the kinyan was already. If it would have said yiknu after the word kasov b'sefer, then you're right. Then it would have been mashma kesef and sefer. Then it's a kinyan. But since it says kinyan right away, that means that the kesef alone is a kinyan and the shtar is just for a raya. So we've succeeded in proving that kesef is a kinyan. Period. Amar Shanu. Ella b'makom shein kosmes hashtar. Kesef is a kinyan only if it's a place where they don't have a custom to write a contract. Avol b'makom shein kosmes hashtar lo kana. But if the place they also write a contract, so then the kesef alone is not good enough. Rashi explains because the buyer is not settled until he has the contract. He wants the proof. He wants the proof of the contract. Until he has the proof of the contract, he's not happy. Doesn't feel settled in his purchase because he can't prove it. So it's not be'etzem. What the Gemara is saying now, he's not kona, it's not be'etzem just because he doesn't have das. He doesn't have reliance. They made a kinyan, but he doesn't feel good about it. He doesn't feel that he really has it. So it's the fact that the purchaser doesn't feel relaxed. So that's a chesaron in the das. You have to have das also. Besides a kinyan, you have to have das. And he doesn't feel comfortable about the purchase until he has proof. So he's not kona until the proof happens. It's very interesting. I think I'll say upshot. I think so. I think this is true. That has nothing to do with the fact that shtar is a kinyan. There happens to be shtar is also a kinyan. But the Gemara is not saying that the shtar is a kinyan. The Gemara is saying that since they have a custom to write a proof, even if shtar wouldn't be a kinyan, but he's not so das until he has a shtar. So he doesn't agree. He doesn't agree. He doesn't have comfort. He doesn't have a comfort level that's going to call the kinyan until he also has the proof. We'll see the opposite.
He's saying that this is
yes, if he doesn't have that, so he's not. It's in the device. All these things are going to be that if a person doesn't want to, or doesn't feel comfortable about the sale, it doesn't happen. You have to have das in order to make a kinyan. So it's true. Technically, the start the kesef is a kinyan, but you also have to feel good about it.
He gave the money.
He gave them money, and he doesn't have the
wants to
shtar. He wants to get a shtar. The seller wants the money. The buyer wants the contract. So even though it's true that technically the kinyan would have been the kesef alone, but the buyer doesn't feel comfortable until settled. Yeshiva das and smichas das until he has the shtar. So he's not The kinyan doesn't take effect until he has the shtar.
Does that mean on both sides? On his side, on the buyer's side, he could say, I changed my mind, give me my money back. It was never a sale.
Right, because it's
He
right.
could say.
You could say
And on the other side, if he said, now give me my shtar, yeah, the seller could say, well, I gave a shtar to somebody else. You sell it to somebody else because it wasn't a sale. Seller.
Here the Gemara says that it's not a sale. There's no smichas. That's what the Gemara
So
says.
also the seller.
I don't know. Yes, could be. The
could say,
Gemara is going to say
"Whoops,
something
you're
right
too
away.
late. You didn't,
That since you weren't so muchdas, you didn't have, you weren't settled because I'm going to give you the shtar. You're right. I'm not going to give you the shtar so, because I decided to give it to somebody else. That's true. Since we're saying now that the buyer does not have smichas das until he gets the shtar, so the sale doesn't take place until he got the shtar. But the porish. But if he explicitly said that he does want it to be a kinyan with the money alone, so then it's good. Fine. If he says I am so much that's good enough. And the Gemara brings a story to back this up. Ki other Ravida Baravin, Ki Zavin Ara Amar. Ravida Barav. The Gemara brings a story from Ravida Baravin when he used to buy land. Amar Ibeina B'Kaspa Ikni, Ibeina B'Shtar Ikni. He would make an explicit stipulation to say that I have the choice of what the kinyan should be. If I want that the kesef alone should be going, if I want then the shtar should be a kinyan, and he explained to himself, if I want that the money should be the kinyan, I have the right, and the case would be that you want to retract, you can't, because I say that the kesef is the kinyan. I have enough smichas das. It's like he's saying I have the upper hand. If I want that the kesef is going to be a transaction of money, there's going to be a transfer of the contract. So if I want that the sale should be closed by the money alone, I could say I want, even though people don't usually have smichas das, I am. And if in such a case, if the seller is going to want to back out, like Yaakov pointed out, that the seller also could back out till the close of the sale. But here he says the sale is closed by the money. So then I have the upper hand, then you can't retract. But me being a shtar, I'm also saying if I want that contract is going to be the closing of the sale, if I want to retract, I should be able to until I get the contract. So you see that you could say explicitly if you want the karka, it says even the karka, the kesef, it says even a bigger chiddush, you can say you have the choice to decide later on which one you want. So that was all the first subject about kesef. We brought the pasuk said there was a kesef yiknu. We also brought that he has to have smichas das, and if he doesn't have the shtar, he's not so much das unless he said explicitly. Next subject. Shtar. The Mishnah says that you can make a kinyan shtar also. And then the Gemara says cash again. How do you know? What is going to be the source? How do you know that shtar is a kinyan? So we just brought a pasuk about the chasov b'sefer b'chasom. Ilay b'mishum d'tztiv b'chasov b'sefer b'chasom. At the end of the pasuk we brought before that buy fields with money and sign the contract. No, we just said. Okay, the pasuk continues. That's all the pasuk we just saw on the side. Sign the contract with witnesses. But you just said a second ago, right? The Gemara couldn't have said it better. He said in that pasuk that's only for a proof. The kinyan is the kesef, like it says, because if you knew and the story, and then the chasov is just for a proof. That's not a good proof. That's not a good proof that such thing as kinyan shtar. So the word brings a different pasuk. Sefer. I messed it up. Sefer HaMiknah. That's talking about when Yirmiyah. So he said that he took the contract, and it's called the Sefer HaMiknah. It's called the deed of sale, Sefer HaMiknah. So there's a pasuk over there. So another pasuk, not the same pasuk as before, a different pasuk that Yirmiyah took and the fact that it's called the Sefer HaMiknah, it's called the document of acquisition. So that means that right. I think the pasuk should have it on the side also. Where is that? Here's the pasuk. So Yirmiyah bought a field, and it says over there, he also gave money over there also, but the pasuk calls it a Sefer HaMiknah, it's the deed of acquisition. So you see there's such a thing as a shtar. And that's the answer to the question. How do you know kinyan shtar? The answer is that's the answer to that question. The Gemara continues. This is very pattern to the Gemara before. The fact that you make a contract and the contract alone closes the sale, that's only if he's giving a present. No money's expected. But if he's giving money, so the mocher is not satisfied until he gets the money. Like we said before, the mocher wants the money, the seller wants the money, and the buyer wants the contract. So before we said that the buyer was not content until he got the contract. Now we're saying that the seller is not content until he gets the money. So even though they made a kinyan shtar, but the seller didn't get his money, so he's not ready to sell.
So we also saying that's Yishuv Das.
Yes, Rashi calls it a little different name. He calls it Gemiras das. He doesn't make a. That's nice how the buyer is not reliant. He doesn't rely on the sale till he wants the sale to be, but he doesn't rely on it until he gets the contract. The seller is not asking to sell it until he gets the money. So it's true that the Kenyan officially would work, but he doesn't want it to happen. The Mocha doesn't want it to happen until he gets his money. And I would say again the same thing as I said before. I don't know if it's true, but I think that has nothing to do with the fact that money is a Kenyan. In fact, there's nothing to do. The Kenyan is money is going to be a Shabbat. He doesn't want a Shabbat. He wants $100,000. He doesn't. So the point is not because it's a Kenyan. It's because he doesn't have in mind to agree to the sale until he gets his money. So that's like a side point that he has to have the Gemiras das. The more Zakasha on this, must have Amnuna, this parashah that says B'shtar Ketzad. How do you do Kinyan Shtar? It talks about not only matan, it talks about a sale also. You write on a piece of paper or earthenware shard, even though it's not worth a pruta, means because it's not the Kinyan Kesef over here, you don't need a shavar pruta. Sadi, that word is sadi. Sadi mechulah, sadi nesunalach. My field is sold to you, my field is given to you. It sounds like two different cases. One is a mecher, one is a matana, one is a sale, one is a present. I raise a mukur and a suna. It works. That is a sale and it's a present. And you're saying that by sudden it doesn't work. Only when you're giving a present, then it happens by the shtar alone. But if you're making a sale, it's not a sale until you get the money. And the sale alone is not sold. That's for the shtar alone. Kasha on Shmuel. Most of love Rabbi Nun asked the kasha. Rabbi Nun is going to say the terms to the kasha. There's a case where he wants to sell even if he doesn't have the money when the field is really bad and he wants to get it off, he wants to get it out, he wants to get rid of it, and he's happy to make the sale and he's not so worried about the money. He's more worried about that the buyer shouldn't back out. So there for sure he wants the sale to take place before he gets the money. It means in a case where that he doesn't care about the money. He wants the sale to go through. That's the case. The case will be that he's selling it because it's so bad that he wants to get rid of it. Rabashi says another terrorist is a little bit of a dochak that he says the case in the price when it says sadi mechul sadi nesunah. Even pashtat is two different cases. I say I'm selling you or I'm giving it to you, either or. But he's a pshat that he says both is the same case. He's giving it to him as a present. He says it's sold and it's given in the same contract. It's sold and it's given, even though it's given. If it's a present, it's not sold. It's only a present. But the reason why he wrote that it's sold is to be as strong as to show that it's to make it sound more binding. The fact that it's sold. I really gave it to him for a present. He didn't get any money. But if it will be the sale alone and he expects to get money, then it's not a kinyan until he gets the money. So we finished the two Gemaras. One was about Kesef, one is about Shtar. Each Gemara we brought the source from the two Psukim. One was Sadis Bekesef Iknu, the other Pasuk is Sefer HaMikta. And Agav, the Gemara said each one of them that is if someone's not so much das or gomer das, so that's another condition which is necessary to fulfill, and the sale doesn't take place until everybody's settled. The mocher is ready to sell, and the buyer is ready to smichas das. He relies on the sale.
Nowadays, is it usually at the time that they sign a contract, you give over a cashier's check or something, so that the money is sort of like at the same time.
Right. So I don't. So also I'm sure everything's in the contract nowadays. It says exactly all the details, and they say everything is spelled out nowadays.
The money.
Right,
Here it's just saying the ownership,
right,
and not the details of.
It doesn't say right. It doesn't say the details of when. It doesn't say halachos.
Shtar, it doesn't have that detail.
Right. Kesef also doesn't say. Nowadays everything's in the shtar. Or if they're not, then it's going to be written in the. They have their own laws. Whatever they decided what takes place and who could back out till when you could back out. Everything is already enumerated. So the halachos go according. That's what that was agreement was. Or that's what the people decided, like Minigam Medina, that's also going to be binding.
What do we call that?
Over there it said that, over there it's talking about the smichas das, I am somech das. The kinyan is a kinyan. And there's also a question if you could.
Saying nowadays everything's enforced in the stuff.
Right, so they're making all kinds of the agreements and they agree to what it says in the contract. The agreement, we're making an agreement. Even if not, whatever they want, if they can make a different key, maybe the kinyan is going to be giving over the key or giving over whatever it is. So nowadays, I think you have to ask the lawyers what is considered the agreement. Everybody agrees upon it. Next sugya, chazaka. How do you know that chazaka, that using the karka is a way to acquire it? Amar Chizki, Amar Kra. Not a pasuk also not in the Torah. Pasuk in Yirmiyah, Ushvu, Varecha Masher Tefastem. Over there, it's talking about that Gedali ben Achikam, after the Jews were exiled. So some Jews were left in Eretz Yisrael. The Babylonians allowed them to stay in Eretz Yisrael. Gedali ben Achikam was the governor. We just had some Gedalia, and he told the people to live and to settle in the cities that they had seized. Ushvu Varecha Masher Tefastem. Pashtam means live. Tefastem with a sin. And the Drash is, but Tefastem be yeshiva. How do you seize it? By living in it. Just by living in it, that's the way to acquire it. Of course, it's a drash. Pashtrad means not about acquiring it, just by living in it. Now, I said before, that's not up to living in it. You also have to make a lock or break the lock or make a fence. And the Chorah has to be a kind of a yeshiva that shows that you're a boss. So here it doesn't go into all those details. It just says
like
by living. Right, it wouldn't show anything. Just by living there, it doesn't show anything. You have to show that you're the boss, that you own it. So the Gemara is going to say, maybe not here.
What about like in '67, the Arabs left in wherever it was, Makkah, or those places.
So Jews came in.
Jews came in and started living there.
But you have to do something that shows that you're the owner. You have to put a lock. You have to do something to show that you're the owner. Just to, what they did, yeah, they sure. I'm sure they changed the lock also. Or some kind of bolt, whatever they do to show that they're the boss. Another drush, the Rabbi Shmuel Tana, the Yevishta Mosav Yishaftim Bo. Another drush. It says in the Torah, this is pasuk in the Torah that says that you should acquire Eretz Yisrael and live in it. And the drush, the Yevishta Mosav Yishaftim Bo. But Ma Yivashtim, how do you inherit it? How do you take it over? Be yeshiva, by living in it. So we're happy with that chazak. Also, we have pasuk for all three of them. Kesef as a pasuk, Shtar as a pasuk, chazak as a pasuk. All of them in Yirmiyah, besides this one, the Yevishta Mosav Yishaftim Bo is pasuk in the Torah. Of course, everything is Russian. It's not pasuk Shat.
But then, what? Let's say it's going to be for $100,000.
So the Kenyan Kesef is a Shabbat fruit. But it could be the same thing.
We're saying the Kenyan is going to be the yeshiva.
No, you have a choice.
No, right now we're talking about Chazaka.
Yeah, Chazak even without Kesef and Shtar. Each one is independent. Kesef alone, Shtar alone, Chazak alone. If the Kenyan was with Chazak alone, first the Mefresh Masakash maybe
like two guys. How would this work?
If it's
I have a house and I want to sell it to you, and I want it to be what? So when you start living in it, it will be yours.
If you agree to sell it, the Mefresh Masakasha, that same way we said before, that you don't agree until you get the money by the Shtar. So maybe you don't agree until you get the money by Chazak also. Some say like that.
Yeah.
So that some say that if you allow him even to live in it, the Mocher said, you go ahead, start living in it. So that means that he's going to das even if he didn't get the money. That's such a big invitation to take it over that he's actually like allows him to use it and to start making a lock and making a fence and then acting like a boss. That means that he's going to das even if he didn't get the money yet. But that's a good kasha. That same way the Gemara said before that he's not masking until he gets the money.
But then also better have aiding that said the agreement was for so much money, and then the guy who owns it, and then he goes to court. What if he didn't get the money?
He owes him the money. He owes money.
How do you prove that he owes him money?
Okay, so either he's gonna agree or the agent, whatever. But that's only for the proof. But the actual kinyan could take place with chazak alone or hefker. Also by hefker, there's no way of kesef for the shtar by hefker. You want to take over a hefker, so it has to be chazak. How do you do that? You take it over. That was further the Mishnah. The way to do it is Mashiach.
When they ran away, when the Arabs ran away, that became hefker.
I would think so. And that's the case of Yirishtam Mosav Yishaftim Bo. You're conquering Eretz Yisrael, conquer it and live in it. How do you conquer it? By living in it. Minolan, how do you know that there's such a kinyan of Mashiach? That's the first in the Torah where first is not talking about
the what was the?
That's the Mishnah. The Shein Lamachrais and Niknel Mashiach. There's a quotation in the Mishnah.
Okay.
That Mashiach. How do you know that? So it's the drash in the pasuk. That's the pasuk. When you sell something to your fellow man, or you buy something from the hand of your fellow man, and the more dash is davar niknem yad liyad. Till now we said that davar niknem yad liyad means without them. It means the pasuk around the pasuk is all about karka, but there it says that don't overprice and make sure it goes according to Yovel. Pasuk is talking about karka, but the Gemara's dashing is talking about the taltalim, davar niknem yad liyad, and also there's a drush over the same yad liyad that the way you make the kinyan is by putting it from hand to hand. Which is more season that it means Mashiach. It doesn't mean Masira. It doesn't just mean passing it over. It means that you take it by your hand and you pull it. So
How
it's
do they know that?
I don't know. It sounds like a little stretch from the word miyad liyad. You even say mashicha. That's what the Mepharshim say. I don't have enough. I don't know. The Master Kasha that not everybody agrees to this. The question is, well, Rabbi Yochanan, the Amar about Torah Mos Konos. Rabbi Yochanan holds that the rice money is kona kesef. We said here it says in the Mishnah kesef is not good. Mashicha is good. It might be the Gemara is asking two questions. I'm not sure. Does Rabbi Yochanan hold that only money is good and Mashicha is not good? Rabbi Yochanan says here that the rice money is good. Others hold that no, but the rice money is not good. You have to have that for Mashicha. But the Rebbe holds that the rice money is good. I'm not sure if he holds that Mashicha is also good. I just have to look into and see what is he hold about Mashicha. But if he holds that money is good, so why does the Mishnah say that only Mashicha is good? What he can do with our Mishnah? The answer is Tana Tekanta the Rabbanan Katani. The Mishnah is talking about Rabbanan. The rice money is kona. But when it says only Mashicha, that means with Rabbanan. So I'm not sure if a Rebbe holds Mashicha is also kona with the rice, or that's also the Rabbanan. Rashi brings down that the more reason why they made it the kona the Rabbanan. With the rice money is kona, but if the rice is money kona, it could be that the seller, let's say a silo, he has a silo of grain, which is metaltalin, and the buyer wanted to buy it, he made a kinyan, but the produce is the goods are still by the mocher, and then there's going to be a fire.
Yeah.
So he's not going to feel so obligated he's not going to run so fast to save it because it's not his. So we make that it should be his until the buyer takes it. That's what I've done in order that the goods should be protected. The buyer shouldn't lose his goods. But that was the Agav that Yochanan says with the rice and money is kona.
According to who? That's because the Bar Torah, he's saying the Mashiach is not the way. And
Right.
this would just be to come to the
Right. Next Mishnah said about Kinyan Agav, which is the end of the Mishnah, besides the Tosefet about the oath over there. But the Chasim Shein Machmai Sikona with Kinyan Agav. And also, how do you know that? That's what the Gemara also wants to know. What's the source for that? And that the Gemara brings a pasuk in Divrei Hayamim. Amar Chizkiyahu Amar Kra Vayitein Lahem Avihem Matanos. Over there it says etc. The etc. says over there gold and silver. Im or Reim Mitzuras BiYehuda. We can look at the pasuk on the side. Vayitein Lahem Avihem.
With the mountains.
No mountains. Mitzuras, so fortified cities.
The fortified cities
In Yehuda. So the father over there is Yoshaphat. He's the king Yoshaphat, and he gave to his sons many presents.
It goes with the
silver and gold
cities.
And all kinds of delights with fortified cities in Yehuda. And then it says that he made one of his sons to be the king, but he gave the other sons these presents. So it says silver, gold, and delights together with fortified cities in Yehuda.
I mean, he didn't have to do anything to the Metzaltel to acquire them.
Right, so it's a drash, of course. The Pashto, that's what he gave them. But the Gemara is saying, how did he give it to them? With the Arm Mitzvahs Yehuda. So that's how you see Kinyan Agav. Middle of a parsha over there, you look at the Divrei Hayamim, you never would guess that that's a pasuk about Kinyan Agav. Also, just to point out that it's a pasuk not in the Torah, it's a pasuk in Divrei Hayamim, and that's going to be the source for Kinyan Agav. Very interesting. Now the Gemara starts. So we finished the Mishnah. We finished the Mishnah with all of the details, the psukim. What the psukim for each one. Now we start talking about Kinyan Agav. Now it goes into details about Kinyan. Does the metaltalum have to be on the karka? Could you have the metaltalum someplace else?
What is Sivur?
Sivur means piled up. Does it have to be piled up on the karka? Or it could be someplace else. You have the karka one place and the metaltalum is laying on together with the karka. Make a kinyan kasef shtab chazaka on the karka, and automatically the kasef or not. It has to be on the
That's
property.
normally what we think of. Like I think of a sod that and got the cows on it.
On cows. You're talking about cows.
Yeah, I keep them.
It could be that it become a cow with agav, so we didn't have it. We just talked about
Whatever it
Chalipin.
is.
We talked about Mashicha, Masira, Hagba.
The patio and all its furniture.
Right. Oh, so they're all the furniture. There you go. So that would be agav. So you don't have to pick up the
You don't have
furniture
to pick it up, it'll go with
automatically. Well, what if it happens to be someplace else that the furniture, the garden
Is in the
furniture
mas-
is in the
is in the other
machsan,
part.
and the machsan I'm not selling you, but I'm selling you the patio
with
with
the patio furniture. and books.
that's in the machsan. Is that good or not? I'm of Yosef Tashma. It says in a Mishnah, we keep on Kaka culture, Hayavas Pepe, over there's a list of things that Kaka culture. But we keep this as a mashu, even a small amount, whatever size it is, Hayavas Pepe. So if something grows on that Kaka, you have to get pay out of that. Bikurim.
Oh,
It's not our subject, we'll get to it. Peya, Bikurim. What does it say? Avrohom Shein Lahem Shir? Peya, Bikurim. Maybe that's referring to that.
because no matter how small the area is,
It's
you
chayv
have to
pay.
leave a little pay.
Right, and Bikurim. And also lift of a prisbal. There's a lot of that you don't make a prisbal only if the loba owns karka. Mashu karka is good enough. Also not our subject. Here goes our subject. For likna so one chasim shein lamachrayis. And they also be kinyan agav. You get even a mashu of karka is enough to do kinyan agav. And the obvious proof is going to be that how much could you put onto a mashu?
Right.
It must be that it doesn't have to be on the on tzivurim. Biyam being in tzivurim, if you say it has to be piled up on the karka, culture of my chazin. What could you do with a culture of karka? What could you put on top of a culture? So take more of Shmuel Bar Bisna, Kamed Rav Yosef, Kivon knows about Machat. So this Amor, or Shmuel Bar Bisna, he said in front of Rav Yosef that he could have a case. He wanted to give him a needle, so he put a needle onto the karka. Now it's just a thrust in. He thrusted in a needle into the karka, and he's calling it a needle, agav. But Rav Yosef was disgusted by the pshat. Amalei Rav Yosef kabastan, you disgusted me. You made me disgusting. There's Rashi says, "Tziartani, you've troubled me." Others say lashon abominating. Very extreme term that Yosef used. Ich boltan lashmin al machat. The Tana has to say a case of all this case of because for a machat has to say halacha that you can make a kinyan agav on such a small thing. It sounds like a machat is not so significant to make whole mishnah about it. Amar Rav Yashi, my name on the law told about Maganisa. There shall be alfi zuzeh. Doesn't have to be dafka machat. Could be that he put a diamond, a pearl that's worth 1,000 zuz. So I thought the words mean like on the needle, but not with the needle. What the Gemara could have said instead of it, on needles. There's a diamond on the mashu. So that's maybe what he means to say. But
no, the needle they put a big diamond, so the diamond could be bigger.
Well, they could be bigger than the lamp. It could be bigger than the
and a small diamond.
A small diamond, of course.
So you don't need the needle. I'm not sure if Rashi coming to explain that's more about Bishnah. He's coming to say his own teretz. You don't like the teretz of a machat, so talk about a diamond. But the words do say tala. Tala means like he hung on it. Sounds like the needle.
Yeah,
so I don't know why he talks about the needle.
Big diamond on it.
I got a big diamond. Small diamond is also again. small diamond. That's more than a cow. Okay, so that was the more try to figure raya that you don't have to be. I have it on the karka, but the more is not raya. No raya, rejects the raya, no proof. Maybe it has to be on the karka.
Oh, that's what we were at.
We were trying to find out. They have to have on the karka or not. The more would right because there's culture is enough. Karka culture, so it's obviously not on the culture.
You wouldn't get the diamond
Again,
only if it's on the karka.
the Gemara wants to know: do you have to have agav on the karka or not? You have the patio furniture in the machsan. Is it good? So well, bring your proof because it says karka culture is enough to get the patio furniture. So how much patio furniture do you have on the karka culture?
Nothing.
You see, you don't have to have the karka to get the karka culture, and you have the patio furniture someplace else. So you have a right. It doesn't have to be on top of it. And you call it. The Gemara says no, it's not a raya. Patio furniture, no good because you have to have enough space to put the patio furniture. The case is he wants to give a needle or a diamond, so then it's good. But he says okay, a diamond. It's not ridiculous. So we got out of the proof. We rejected the proof. Maybe you do have to have it on.
Maybe you do because something valuable could be that small.
Right, that the culture is enough. So just because that's culture doesn't have a proof from there that doesn't have to be on the lamp.
Okay.
Maybe it has to be, so we don't know still. Next. Ma'aser b'medoni echad. Rashi says another says a medoni echad. The name from a person from a certain city. Shai Yerushalayim. Sounds like Shai lo Mutaflin Har.
I thought he was originally from Yerushalayim. Oh no, that he went.
He was Yerushalayim. He was a medoni.
I see. Okay.
He was a Bnei Braker that was in Yerushalayim.
Okay.
Shai lo Mutaflin Har. He had a lot of matana. He wanted to give it as a matana. I guess the case was that it wasn't. Okay, the wasn't. That was a deer or not. Yeah, they said there's no way to do it. Only if you're going to give it to agav. Okay, he wasn't making kinyan agav. Agav karka.
All this potato.
You want to give a lot of metalton, you have to do agav karka. Give him a little bit. Give him karka, and then you'll also be able to give him the karka. Excuse me. Okay.
In other words, he had a lot of potato,
and he wanted to give it. He wanted to give it as a present.
And obviously, somebody's not going to pick it up. They can't go pick up every one.
Okay.
He said, so do it with karka.
Do it with karka. So what did he do? So he bought base seller. Base means like the amount of area. With seller, the Gemara thinks means the size of a seller. Very small, size of a coin. Piece of
coin.
Right.
Yeah.
So the more thinks it means the piece of land, the size of a coin near Yerushalayim. And he said, Omar, Tzifoni zeh. So I didn't get the word Tzifoni. The article said it means the northern part. The
Northern,
northern part of the piece of land. It's the whole thing is the size of a coin. And the northern part is given to Ploni. The imo mea tzonu mea chobios. Together with that, Agav, we should get 100 sheep and 100 barrels. So Agav obviously wasn't on the land. So you see that Kinyan Agav is good, even though it's not on top of the land. The king Umeis, the king was the Baruch, and he died, and the Chachamim fulfilled his words. That is a good Kinyan. So what do you see? The Kinyan Agav works. If you need Sevurim on the Karka, so Beisala, what did he get on there? And he can't say a needle because he gave him 100 sheep and 100 barrels. The answer is Mi Sabas Beisala, Selamamish. I think it means the land the size of a coin. My Sela, the Nefesh Tuba. Really, it means that it was a big piece of land. Why is it called the Beisela? Am I Karole Sela? The Kashika Sela. The word Sela also means rock, so that's not only mean a coin. That's
Sorry, how did you translate my Sela de Nafish Tuba?
Why does Sela mean? The Nefesh Tuba is very big. It's really not, it's a lot of land. Nefesh Tuba is very big. So why is it called the Sela? Because it's hard like a rock. It means that it wasn't good land. It wasn't fertile land. It was very cheap because it wasn't able to do anything with it. It was rocky. But the word Sela could mean coin, called the Sela. The word Sela can mean rocks. So you got it wrong. The base Sela just means a land which was rocky, a rocky terrain, which means that it was very cheap. You bought a piece of land and he put all the metaltalim on top of it. All the metaltalim, I thought that he had metaltalim Mamadon. No, he had the metaltalim where he was. He had the metaltalim where he was, where it was, where he put we bought the base Sela, something in Yerushalayim. And he put all the metaltalim that he wanted to give the Me'at Son, the Me'at Chavayos, he put them all onto that base Sela, which was very cheap land because it was rocky. And that's how we did the Kinyan Agav. So you have no proof that it doesn't have to be on the land. Maybe you do need Sivur. Maybe it has to be on the land. Again, no proof. Strike two. Tashma, there's a question here if he was sick or not. He was sick. A sick man was in Yerushalayim. But you only have to say that I was sick according to Rabbi Lezer. No, not you could say that I was sick according to Rabbi Lezer. There's a question if he was sick or not. And Rashi says the question is that is there such a thing as a manas? Chala means sick, but some say bari. If you take it by the parentheses on the screen over here, so some say he was sick, some say he was healthy. What's the issue of being sick or healthy?
Wait.
Well, first of all, skip the parentheses. Some say he was sick, some say he was healthy.
Thank you.
So what's Rabbi Lezer and Rabbanan? Rabbanan say that the man what we know famous that a person who's a shchimera, that he's fatally ill, so he can give matana without any kind of a kinyanim. He just says he wants to give it, then it's already kichsum nechem. So the Rabbanan who hold like that, they can't say the story coming up is by a he's by a sick man, because by a sick man he wouldn't need any problem to make a kinyan. If he's definitely sick, shchimera, he just says I want to give it. So the Rabbanan will have to say that he was healthy. Rabbi Lezer doesn't hold of he says the story was that he was sick, even if he was sick.
Okay, but we're going to go with right now when it says he had a lot of stuff. That means he was healthy. It means he was rich.
There's a machlok. There's a machlok. There was going to say in case of he was rich, for sure he was rich. But the question was he healthy or sick?
Okay.
We're going to say the case that he wanted to give presents.
He wanted to give it away because he was sick.
That's
the rabbis.
Now the rabbis are going to say that he was healthy. If he would be sick, then he wouldn't have to have a problem of how to do it.
Oh, I thought it meant Rebbe Eliezer. Oh, Birusum Rebbe Eliezer.
It's going to say soon that the same problem as before. He wanted to give a present, then he couldn't. They told me you have to do Kinyan Agav. So the question is, why do you have to do Kinyan Agav? If he's a shchimera, you don't need Kinyan Agav. Shchimera could do it even without Kinyan Agav. So the Gemara inserts that he was healthy. According to Rabbanan that say he was healthy. That's why he had the problem of how to make the transfer, how to make the transaction. According to Rabbi Lezer, even if he was sick, also he'd have to have the problem. He'd have the problem because he owes that. He knows he did. So even if he was sick, he'd have the issue. How can I make the transaction? Anyway, the case was. We'll come back. If there's any difficulty with that, we'll come back to it. Show you metalton harbe. He had a lot of metalton. He wanted to give her for a present, and they said you have to do agav. Amulo in takana. Agavi kaka. The only way to do it is to make kinyan agav. What did he do? Ma'asa Allah lokach base roba. A base roba is not as small as a seller. Base roba means a quarter of a saw. A base roba, a quarter of a base saw, I think. Base roba.
Base roba.
What's Rashi say? No, Rashi says roba kav. Roba kav. Rashi says there are 6 kav in a saw. So there's a base of sign. A base of sign is 100 by 50. A base of 50 by 50, almost. A kav is going to be a sixth of
We're
that.
talking about how much grain,
How much
how
grain
much grain you would plant,
in that
in that
area?
area.
Right. How much area they need to plant that amount of grain?
and what does it come out for a quarter of a cup?
So 50, if you make cheshbon 50 by 50 by 50 is how many square amas? 2,500, right? That's a so.
Uh-huh.
2,500. A sixth of that is a kav. A sixth of 2,500.
I see.
And now it's a quarter of that. So we're talking about a base saw. A sixth of that is a base kav, and a roba is a quarter of that.
Okay.
A 24th of
It's about
2,500.
It's about 200.
Close to a
25, 6 goes into 24. 6 times 4 is 24. That'd be 400. Oh, it'd be like 100.
Sounds
Close
like
to
it.
100.
Yeah. So a pretty small, this room, something like that. Some Yerushalayim. Omar tefach al tefach leploni. So also he had a lot of things to give. So he said a lot of people may have different people. So I said one tefach is given as a present to Ploni, and together with that he should get 100 sheep and 100 barrels.
This is the tefach?
Yeah.
Yeah, a tefach by tefach.
It's given to Ruvain,
Uh-huh.
present, and he made Kesef Shtar, whatever he did, however he made the Kinyan on the Karka, and together with that should travel also, should be given a free ride, 100 sheep and 100 barrels. So that means that it wasn't on the tefach al tefach. Umeis, the person died. They fulfilled his words because he did a good kinyan agav. The beginning of the story just said that if he was sick, the Rabbanan would say he would need his kinyan agav. He does do it with saying so. I want to give it to him.
Oh,
So we said he was healthy.
because it's shchit meirah.
Right.
Yeah,
So he was healthy and he died, but he was healthy. According to Rabbi Lezer, he doesn't know that. So even if he was sick, also the story would make sense. Anyway, what do you see? That you could do kinyan agav that the talflim is not on the karka. What could have he got now? He couldn't have got. The Moshe was asked to stronger all these cases. Not my chazi. How could he get 100 sheep and 100 barrels onto a tefach? Not that he put the actual sheep and barrels onto the piece of tefach. He put the money. There was the value of 100 sheep, the value of 100 barrels. He put onto the tefach al tefach. He put a gold coin. He put money, the value, not the actual
so this is
sheep.
strike 4.
What?
This is going to be strike 4.
The one trying, yeah. Is that how many strikes we had already?
Well, you said strike 3, I thought before. So whatever. This
The
is
first
another
one was
strikeout.
1. Yeah, the most trying to be matcha. And then we had the Madoni, that was 2. And this is the third. I think it's the third. I think this is
the third. Okay.
the third. So
But
the
it
one
didn't
gets out of
work.
it by
He's
saying
he said when he said sown, he didn't.
he didn't mean
meant
actual sheep. He meant the value of 100 sheep. And he put the money onto the tefach al tefach.
Well,
You don't like it.
huh?
It's a docha. You're allowed to
What-
say it's a docha. It says
It was a Misa, right? So we
yeah, but
don't-
what was the Misa?
so what was the Misa? We don't know. We said
Right.
we can't prove that.
From the
was it.
word, the words that way is
The words you
recorded.
can't prove that's what
it
it was.
could be
Maybe it
that.
was the value.
Right. You're not so happy. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
that's-
I want to be able to get the stuff in the
That's
Misa.
better.
I'm no give it.
So then you do. Then what? Then the one is always pushing that you don't need, and the one is always saying maybe no, maybe you do.
Maybe you do.
Maybe you do.
Okay.
The one who wants to prove that it must be
That you
that
don't
it
need
was
value.
the money, only money. That the case over there was money, not the actual
that
sheep.
it was money.
It was money, not the actual sheep.
Okay.
If he meant actually wanted to give over the sheep and the barrels, what's the whole deal? Why do you have to have agav? Why didn't he
Oh.
just do kinyan sudar? He should have told the person he wants to give. I want to give you a present. Give me a sudar, and I'm giving you the.
Oh,
100
chalipin
sheep.
would work, and why do you have to have land?
Must be that it was money, and therefore what?
And therefore, it has to be on.
Why can't you do chalipin on the money? Because you can't do chalipin for money. Rashi helps us out. I wouldn't know Noam Shad in the Gemara. Rashi points out, here it is, that you can't transfer money. You can't make a money transfer with chalipin. I can't give you a coin by chalipin. So then, if it was money I wanted to give him, so then I couldn't, the gold coin, he couldn't do it with chalipin. But if it would have been actual sheep and barrels, then you needed a whole headache about agav. You could have done it with chalipin. Must be that it was for
higher,
money.
Where was that Rashi?
Right across from where we're holding.
Stop it. What's the?
This time, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
But the Gemara doesn't hold that Hachanam is. You want to prove it. He said a dochak, but you want to also prove the dochak. Even if you want to say that he sold that Sakasha, why didn't he do Chalipin? So your answer is must be that it was money. If it was money also, he could have told the man, here's the coin, take the coin, here it is. If it was possible to give the coin, he should have said, here's the coin. He didn't have to, if the man was there, then there was no proof either.
If the man was there,
The recipient, he wants to give it to somebody.
oh, he's the
He wants to give it. He wants to give it to somebody. So
Yeah.
he says it must be that it was money. That's why he couldn't do Chalipin. So that's why he did Agav. If it would have been sheep, he could have done Chalipin. Moses said, if money, so you happy? Why didn't he give it to him? Mashiach, take the coin. Here it is. It's a cash anyway. It's not any better by saying that it's a coin than saying that it was sheep. Making sense? Not making sense. The Gemara was to say.
He said sheep, and we're saying he meant coin.
I want to
He
prove it.
meant
I want to prove that the case, not he meant, the case was that he gave him coin.
That gave money.
I'll prove to you that was the case. Because if it was sheep, then they wouldn't have needed the whole headache with Agav. He could have said, give me a handkerchief and I'll give you all the sheep.
That's holy.
Must be that it was money.
Okay.
Now says, no, that's not a proof. Because if it was money also, there's a problem. Why didn't he just give him the money? If the recipient was right there, so he should have given him the coin. It must be. It must be that he wasn't there. The recipient wasn't there. That's why he couldn't give him the money. That's why he couldn't do Chalipin with him. The case was that he wasn't there. He wanted to represent somebody that was not there. So that's why he had to find the Kinyan Agav. The Master Kasha still when his kindle now lay Agav Acher. Why couldn't he ask somebody else? What's this? Still, why even if there was nobody, the recipient wasn't there, why couldn't he ask somebody else to be zochel for him? We'll stop here. We have a holding. Then it's kinu. We got to tell him
that he wasn't there to get the money.
Must be that the recipient wasn't there, so it's no proof. You have no hachanami mustafa. You have no proof that it was money. You have no proof. The Gemara rejected it. It could be it was money, so we rejected the proof. But you want to prove that. You want to prove that shot.
Oh,
you can't prove it. Yes, go ahead, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Why can't we prove that it was money?